Thank you for joining us again and welcome back to our channel. If you are joining us for the first time, we appreciate your time. In this episode, I'm going to conduct an extensive research with regards to the relationship between the country of Gabon and France. More importantly, I will focus on the Bongo dynasty with regards to the relationship and the story with the country of France. I will explore a number of geopolitical issues with regards to this video, highlight perspective, draw contrasting information. If you are watching us for the first time, we will encourage you to smash the like button and share the video so we continue to build this audience. So without any much delay, let's just dive straight into it. From father Omar Bongo to the son Ali Bongo, the family that ruled Gabon for 55 years maintained a special relationship with France. But the ties between the former colonial power and the Central African country, long bastion of France's influence, became even more distant in the years 2000. There are many lessons to be drawn with regards to the consequences and the situation that happened and the coup most recently in the country of Gabon. Gabon president appeared just hours after being removed from the office by military putschist on the morning of Wednesday of that particular time. If you draw back to August 30th, Ali Bongo Ondimba, who was 64 years at the time, looking emaciated, his body fluttering and in a blue tunic, sit in an armchair in the living room of La Cibleur, his residence in Libreville, where he is under house arrest. His voice quavers slightly. He gazed, oblique and also flirting a little in a vogue. The man is weakened, completely weakened, not so much because of the surprise coup that previous night when the military challenged the announcement of his presidential victory, nullifying the result and seizing power, but because of the consequences of his severe health, if you look at this picture in 2018. But more importantly, the surprise of that particular picture somewhere else in the language that was used by the president at the time. He actually spoke in English. Mr. Bongo said in his own words, "I am the president of Gabon, Ali Bongo, and I'm sending the message to all the friends we have around the world to make some noise because the people here have arrested me and my family. My son is somewhere, my wife is somewhere else, and I am at my residence." While Gabon joined the Commonwealth organization, French remains the official country's language and the one Ali Bongos use daily. But why do we jump into this particular area and ignoring the more specifics regards to the strategic relationship that the country of Gabon has with the country of France? Allow me to take you back a little bit. Part of France's empire in Central Africa until 1960, Gabon has remained one of its key allies on the continent of Africa. As the soldiers continued to get the President Ali Bongo Ondimba out of power, who took over from his father. If you look at other areas, France's role as the first and most faithful ally of the Bongos family was eminent at the time. France officially occupied Gabon in 1985, 10 years after French-Italian explorer Pierre Savagnin to Brazil led a first mission to the region and founded the town of Franceville, one of Gabon's largest cities to this day. In 1910, Gabon was declared part of French Equatorial Africa and will remain under French rule for the next 50 years. Like most of France's sub-Saharan colonies, it gained independence in 1960. But Gabon and France remain close. Thousands of French citizens remain in the country after independence. The French oil company ERV exploited a large part of its crude production, and others mined its iron ore and manganese and timber for export. Gabonese uranium also supplied France's nuclear weapons and also power plants, and the friendship was closely protected by the family that ruled over 55 years and the Bongos in particular. But let me look at the dynasty here if we want to have a better picture. Omar Bongo Ondimba, the man who ruled Gabon from 1965 until his death in 2009, famously said, according to his own word, Gabon without France is like a car with no driver. And he previously said that France without Gabon is like a car with no fuel. Interestingly, Bongo was promoted to the key positions in the 1960s as a young official under Gabon's first president, Louis Mba, before being elected vice president in his own right in the 1960s. In 1964, when renegade soldiers arrested Bongo in Libreville and kidnapped Mba, French paratroopers to the pointer rescued an abducted president and his deputy, restoring them to power. When Mba died in 1967, Bongo succeeded him to become the second president of Gabon. If you look at strategic options here, as head of state, he traveled regularly to France, where he owned dozens of properties and enjoyed the backing, more or less openly, of successive French governments. Bongo's international relations were dominated by his relationship with France, Gabon falling within the ambit of what experts began calling France Afrique. Gabon is an extreme case, verging on a caricature of neocolonialism, wrote French journalist Pierre Pienan in 1983. But of course, this is important to look at the special relationship between these two countries. Omar Bongo carefully cultivated close relationship with French politicians. The Gabonese president was accused of backtracking elections campaign for friendly candidates in France, most notably former French President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing publicly claimed that Bongo helped fund the 1981 presidential campaign of his rival Jacques Chirac. If you look at Chirac denied the allegation at the time, so to point out. However, if you look at the strategic option, meanwhile, France's footprint in Gabon was clear to see. In 1988, the New York Times reported that through its aid, France subsidized a third of Gabon's budget, extending low interest rate loans, paying the salaries of 170 French advisors and 350 French teachers, and paying school scholarships, to the point out, for most of the roughly 800 Gabonese who study in France every year. According to French Strictly Weekly, Le Canard Haïtien, $2.6 million of this aid also went for the interior decoration of the DC-8 jet belonging to President Bongo. For years, France even turned a blind eye to the Bongo's family acquisition of luxury homes in Paris and on the Côte d'Azur. France always maintained a permanent military base in Gabon, and in the 1990s, when pro-democracy protests threatened to oust Bongo from power, it helped keep him in place. In 1993, with Bongo threatening again, the French government brokered a peace accord between Bongo's leadership and the angry opposition. More importantly, if we look at the second Bongo era, which is important with regards to this episode as we dive into our analysis, when Omar Bongo died in June of 2009, his son Ali took over as head of the Gabonese Democratic Party. He ran as the presidential candidate for president in its snap election in August that year. The French president at the time, Nicolas Sarkozy, who had made Gabon one of the first countries he visited when he became president 2 years earlier, openly backed Ali Bongo's campaign. Rumors flew that elderly Bongo had stashed secret documents and at the presidential palace that could discredit France, which, according to Florent Bernard, the professor of African history at the Political Science University Sciences Po, was thought to be a factor in Sarkozy's support. But the relationship weren't always so cozy under the second president Bongo. Let's look at 2010. In 2010, the French judiciary opened a so-called ill-gotten gains inquiry into the origin of the fortune of Omar Bongo that used to be expensive assets in France. Spanning 15 years, the probe resulted in a seizure of several properties and embezzlement charges against several of the Bongo's children, thought not Ali Bongo, who as a sitting president benefited from the immunity. In 2015, France also opened an investigation into Ali Bongo's chief of staff on suspicion of accepting a bribe from the French company to help secure a contract. It is interesting that things have changed with regards to the relationship between France and also Gabon. Let me look at the wind of change with regards to this particular relationship. Since his election in 2017, President Emmanuel Macron has promised to put an end to France Afrique and make France a more neutral partner to its former colonies. If you look at Macron's strategy, and Bongo did decide to diversify Gabon's partners as well. In 2002, on his request, Gabon joined the Commonwealth alongside Togo. It became the latest nation with no historical ties to the United Kingdom to enter the English-speaking club headed by British monarch. But during his latest visit to Libreville in March of 2023, President Emmanuel Macron appeared as close to Bongo as his predecessors ever were. This is important. France condemned his toppling and still has around over 400 troops in Gabon. If you look at the relationship with regards to these two countries, it is interesting how these two nations have also come so close. With regards to the current president at the moment, who is struggling to diversify his relationship, the relationship between France and the country of Gabon is not going anywhere soon. We want to thank you for watching. Hopefully we've informed you with regards to the complexity with regards to this particular relationship between Gabon and the country of France and each successive French president, and the relationship with Gabon is not going to go anywhere soon. No one should lie you that this country of Gabon is completely independent. Gabon is indebted with France and is strictly in relationship regards to the geopolitical relationship in the continent of Africa, specifically in Central Africa. We want to thank you for watching. We are looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
President Ali Bongo, thank you for talking to Al Jazeera.
It's a pleasure.
Many, especially those in the opposition, see you as a continuation of your father's rule. Now, you've been defense minister under his government, and he's ruled this country for over 40 years. To those who say this, what do you have to say to them?
Well, simply that I am the one that can make real change. It's not because I'm my father's son that I have the same name that I'm my father. He's Omar, I'm Ali. You know, all the time, all the policy, it's a time for change. And this is exactly what I'm bringing people. I know, because I know how the system has been working, I know how to improve it. And this is exactly what I'm proposing to my people.
What change are you suggesting?
Well, firstly, it is fair to say that thanks to the policies of my predecessors, you know, President Leon, founder of the Republic, and my father, I can now concentrate more on matters of really importance, such as the economy. We have to diversify our economy. We have to create jobs. You know, we have to focus on, you know, education, more on training programs. All these things are really what we need now, and that can bring the change that is needed.